So, hello and welcome to the Wiki event. My name is Adrian,
My name is Sammy, hello.
and today we are delighted to have with us SORA team. How are you, William?
Hey guys, how are you doing?
Yeah, fine, thank you. So, yeah, we are pleased to have with us SORA. It's quite an honor. And yeah, we are going to start with the first question to the SORA team. So, William, can you describe us SORA in only one phrase?
Yes, SORA is a supranational economic system based on a blockchain.
Oh, that's amazing. So you can explain now it's more in deeper and show this amazing ecosystem.
Yeah, for sure. So SORA at the moment is a Kusama parachain, and it's also got its substrate-based solo chain. And it is a on-chain governance system that is based around the XOR token that allows producers to make proposals for funding. And all the token holders decide how to allocate ZOR for these goods and services to be created. Although we recently had a change in our tokenomics, and the token that would be minted for funding these proposals is XST.
Okay, perfect. So yeah, we see that the SORA project seems very interesting to us since we see that it's cover all the economic actions from the state, the nation, the region, or the whole of the company business, and users as financial consumers who purchase goods and services. For this reason, we find it interesting to answer and explain the three important questions that we are going to do you, William. The first one is that what SORA can offer to a country, a region, or a global economic system.
Yeah, so I think SORA can offer a currency in which the members of this country or region can propose productive ways to allocate these funds. So you're not minting debt, as it would be, but rather funds that will be allocated to productive purposes and then will all in their own generate more value.
Okay, that's perfect. That's quite amazing. And yeah, now what SORA can offer to the world of companies, the business, or financial systems?
Well, I think it really depends. It has the same use as a currency, as I mentioned earlier, that it's useful for a country or a global economic system. And at the same time, we have a very efficient, very powerful, and always on blockchain, which can help these companies or business or financial systems record their data on chain or even mint their own currencies.
Wow, so that's quite amazing. Now you can explain your SORA Builders program, one program that seems to you can build your project. If I'm a new blockchain developer and I want to build a new amazing dApp, how can I build on SORA?
Yeah, sure. So you can sign up to the SORA Builders program, and then you can either receive a grant to build, or you can also receive advice from SORA developers on how to get your dApp started. And this is not only for new dApps or projects, but also existing projects can port their code to the SORA network.
Oh, that's amazing. You can explain the last sentence you say that a current project can export their code, their dApp to the SORA network. How this can be possible?
Yeah, so for example, I don't know, a dApp that is on an EVM compatible chain or something along those lines, they can get support to port their project into a substrate-based network and perhaps have a larger user base or different users altogether. But yeah, if it's something that the community finds interesting or valuable, because at the end of the day, SORA is a community-based project, so they're the ones who are in charge, or rather, we are all in charge of making decisions for the network. And if the community seems to agree that this project is valuable or is good for the network overall, then yeah, we can provide support for it.
Oh, that's amazing. So if there are any listener that wants to build a new project or export the project to the SORA network, please contact to William and their team, and they will show you all the details for sure. You will have all the details on the description. of the video and share a Telegram and things like that. So now we are going to talk about the what SORA offers to a normal citizen. I mean, like us, to a person as a consumer of goods and service, or like an end user or financial products. For example, for personal savings,
Yeah, definitely. I think first and foremost, SORA offers a peer-to-peer way to exchange funds, like all of the decentralized blockchain token services that are available, networks, etc. But also at the same time, SORA offers very powerful and very interesting DeFi tools. Let's say PolkaSwap, and let's say the series Demeter Farm platform as well. SORA also offers a very fast to use, very convenient wallet interface, the SORA wallet. And very soon we will also be offering the SORA card. So basically, this is a card that you can use to access your cryptocurrency in a decentralized manner, but also at the same time have an IBAN and a MasterCard powered debit card to use your crypto in the real world.
Oh, so a new crypto card on the SORA network. That's amazing. You can explain more.
Card, which is even more amazing than the options that we've been seeing so far.
Yeah, that's amazing. You can explain the card more in detail, please?
Yeah, sure. So, well, I mean, this SORA card project is going to launch soon. If you want to pre-register now, you can do it by downloading the SORA Wallet app for Android and iOS. And yeah, so basically it is a debit card with a European bank account, IBAN, that is connected to your crypto on the SORA network via decentralized exchange. So it's similar in how it operates, like the Binance card or like the Crypto.com card, but it's also very different because you're not topping it up from funds in a centralized exchange. It's all decentralized and self-custodial.
So we are talking about only you have your trade, you have your money being non-custodial. You can explain how SORA affects this non-custodial and this, value the freedom of yourself. You can explain it how SORA push that thing.
Yeah, I mean, specifically for the SORA card, there is some light KYC going on in the aspect of getting the IBAN itself, because it has to be compliant with European regulation. But on the other hand, all of the funds that are within your SORA wallet or within PolkaSwap or within the SORA network are completely self-custodial. So your keys, your coins, for better or for worse.
That's perfect. I think that you have to be your own man, be yourself, and not trust in give your phrases to an stranger. Like if you gave your home to an stranger, right? I think
exactly. Yeah, and I mean, with what has happened in FTX and all of the other things that we've seen, it's really necessary, I think, for people to participate in self custody.
Yeah, I think that's the goal. So now another question we have. So yeah, if a friend or someone who is listening to us and wants to start with the SORA system, what steps should they follow? I mean, what dApps he has to install and how he or she can get SORA token.
Yeah, sure. So I mean, it depends. If this person is already familiar with the Polkadot ecosystem, then I'm assuming by this point they will already have the Polkadot.js browser extension to create an account that is available on all chains, so that you can use it on any substrate-based blockchain or parachain. And then from there, you can access polkaswap.io, which is the liquidity hub of the SORA network. And yeah, you can start swapping any tokens. Now, in polkaswap.io, you have a bridge, so people can bridge their funds from the Ethereum network into SORA and then use them within the SORA network. Or alternatively, we have some centralized exchanges that have the SORA network token XOR, and you can natively use them. So you don't have to convert yet again. But basically, all that they need is a wallet and access to the internet so that they can get to Polkaswap.io. Also, if they want to bridge from Ethereum, then a wallet such as MetaMask is recommended.
Okay, perfect. And about the actual system of the bridge in Polkaswap, can you explain it more, and can you tell us if more networks will be available?
Yeah, for sure. So the Hashi bridge is currently operational. You can bring your funds in from Ethereum using the MetaMask browser extension, and it will directly bring your funds into Polkaswap. Don't worry if you don't have XOR in Polkaswap already, because you can, well, if you swap to ZOR, then the amount of ZOR will be deducted. So it's not like, for example, Ethereum, where if you don't have Ethereum, you just cannot do anything. So that is quite convenient for new users. At the moment, we're going to evolve the bridge or level it up into a multi-network EVM bridge. So then you'll be able to bridge funds from other EVM compatible networks like BSC or Polygon or Clayton or other blockchain networks that are EVM compatible. At the same time, the Hashi bridge itself is going to level up into a trustless bridge. So yeah, that's going to improve it and improve the time it takes for transactions to go through. So yeah, the team is working very hard on making those improvements to the bridge, but we cannot, this is the kind of work that certainly cannot be rushed, because it's dealing with people's funds, and yeah, it has to be done very carefully, very diligently, to make sure that there are no issues at all.
Okay, that's amazing. And about we have seen that if you have a wallet, you have to connect your MetaMask account, and there you can operate with all your tokens. In the future, we are going to see more wallets to connect in Polkaswap, or
Yes, we are definitely going to see more wallets that you can connect in Polkaswap, but yeah, I don't want to spoil it right now. But yes, there are lots of interesting wallets and interesting upgrades to come. So stay tuned for that.
Well, so yeah, we will see if these updates come soon, and yeah, stay tuned in the Twitter of Polkaswap.io to see these new features. Yeah, so now we're going to the next question. We have been seeing, we have been talking about, a SORA card, and a SORA card will be available on the Polkaswap.io, or you will create a new tab. You can explain how we can get this SORA card when it will be available for the people.
Yeah, sure. So let me take your question in parts. No, we're not going to create a new dApp. The dApps that we already have are going to be upgraded for them to have SORA card compatibility. So with Polkaswap.io, you'll be able to manage your funds, and you'll also be able to do it with the SORA Wallet mobile app. And in the near future, you'll also be able to do it through Fearless Wallet. So this is something that's going to be quite exciting. About the card, registration for it will start, I believe, within the next 2 or 3 weeks. And in Q1 of 2023, you'll be able to get some cards shipped out, as well as increase some of the currencies that will be available for you to get on SORA card.
Okay, so talking about the wallets in PolkaSwap, we have seen that if you want to connect your wallet, you have to connect your MetaMask account and then you can operate with all your tokens. In the future, we are going to see more wallets in the PolkaSwap or MetaMask.
Yeah, there are going to be more wallets that will be integrated. I don't want to spoil the surprise for now, but yeah, just stay tuned for interesting updates that will be coming regarding these wallets and their compatibility with PolkaSwap.
Wow, so that's amazing. We will be stay tuned in the Twitter for and you can follow PolkaSwaps to always be with the latest news. Now we are going to the next question about SORA card. We were talking about that. You can explain us how the registration will be, where we can get our card, and about the SORA card public sale.
Yeah, sure thing. So you do not need to get any new wallets or dApps or anything of the sort. It will all be able to be done via the existing ones. So you can manage your assets in PolkaSwap, and you can also do it in the SORA wallet app. So we're going to be launching some upgrades very soon, which will have the compatibility for the card. And if you want to stay tuned to the updates for SORA card, and if you want to be the first to register for your card, you have to download the SORA wallet app, and you will get a push notification once registration is available. So it's all pretty convenient.
Okay, and for the viewers in the interview, for a user who wants to work with PolkaSwap, can you explain the different options and functions? For example, providing liquidity, staking, SORA card, bridge, etc.
Yeah, sure thing. So if you want specific information on SORA card and the latest news, you can access soracard.com, and you can also download the wallet from there. And there's a quick overview on SORA card, as well as all of the interesting aspects that are available for you to use in there. Jumping to PolkaSwap, which is a completely different beast. So PolkaSwap is an AMM DEX. So the liquidity is provided by LPs who have their pools within the DEX. And there are a lot of very interesting things that you can do on it. So anywhere from swaps, pools, staking. You can also have access to the bridge, as I mentioned earlier, in polkaswap.io. And you can also mint NFTs. This is something that is a bit obscure, but you can mint SORA-specific NFT, and you can use those, and you can provide liquidity to those NFTs. So you can set up your own liquidity pool with the NFT that you have minted. Pooling is really interesting. You add, I think I don't need to explain pooling in depth, but you add your pooling pair, and then you get rewards in different tokens. So depending on what pair you're using, you could get rewards in the DO token, you could get rewards in XST USD or in XST. And also you get liquidity provision rewards in the PSwap token. So there is an interesting amount of tokens there for you to use. And as well as getting rewards with every swap that people make in a pool that you have provided liquidity to. So it's quite interesting. At the same time, we also have single-sided staking powered by the Demeter platform for liquidity, which is also, I think, Web3's best kept secret. There are lots of interesting liquidity pools you could add. To. This is not financial advice. Always do your research. But I personally think that PolkaSwap is the best DEX out there, not just because I help contribute to the team, but also because I have used and tried out the different DEXs available, and I think that objectively speaking, it's just really good, really quick, really powerful. The rewards are great, everything works as it should, and it looks nice. So what more could you ask, right?
Yes, totally. And it seems that the SORA team, or SORA in general, always tries to innovate with new projects. That is really an amazing thing for the SORA network and for the community and all the aspects. So talking about this, are there going to be future decentralized applications or projects or features that you will add soon?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, some of them I cannot disclose at the moment. We are working on them very, very hard, and we're trying to make them the best so that the community can enjoy these new features. And yeah, also, as you mentioned earlier, as we spoke at the beginning, if there is a dApp that you would like to port into the SORA network, we have the SORA Builders program. So you can also participate there. If there is a feature that you would like to see in the SORA network, you can always send us an RFP. There is a guide available in the our Medium, where you can see all the steps that you need so that you can submit an RFP for the SORA network. And at the same time, if you would like to know what the roadmap for the SORA network is, we have the SORA integrated plan, which every 2 weeks in our ecosystem updates, you get a summary of what has been going on in the past few weeks and what is being worked on. So you always know where you are in the SORA integrated plan. I think if you were to just look at it, it seems a bit abstract, as it looks like a big, like when you're playing Age of Empires or one of those civilization games where there are lots of different skills that you need to upgrade and that you need to, evolve until they're completed and move on to the next. That is pretty much what the SORA integrated plan is. So if you were to look at it now, some exciting things that are coming up, the trustless multi-VM functionality for people who have been long requesting it. SORA card as well as SORA IBAN are really cool aspects that we're also working on. And there is a lot of interesting stuff coming soon, as well as some secrets to keep people on the edge of their seats.
Okay, and if I am speaking of what you have mentioned earlier about helping SORA, if I am a user, a normal user, how can I send my suggestions? What things can I suggest, and how can I do it?
Yeah, so I don't know. I think it's a very how can I say it? A very open system. So if you want to contribute to SORA, all you need to do is write up an RFP. So we have a. Let me just pull it up. I mean, if you're a user, I would really hope that you are not scared of using GitHub, because you'd have to submit your RFP to GitHub, and then from there you can make it work. We have written a guide on an open source contribution to the SORA network. I will share that with you guys so you can also share it with your readers. And in this guide, there is pretty much everything you need to know on how to contribute, on how to, first of all, make a pull request if, depending on your experience level as a user, or you can also add whatever it is that you think should be added. We've tried to make the process as easy as possible. So instead of the very open-ended questions, we have a sort of request tracker. So we have improved the RFP system, as it were. And Yeah, it's just a matter of answering questions such as, what do you want to see? What is the change that you want implemented? What does complete look like? Very, I'm not going to say simple or simple. Well, yeah, very basic questions that normal users can just elaborate on without having to have very much technical experience. But if there's something if there's a function you really, really want, then all you need to do is describe how it works and what the benefit is for everyone.
Oh, that's quite amazing. Thank you, William. Now we are going to talk about more about user experience on SORA. We see that SORA relies a lot on his community. You have an amazing community. It's super active, and it has been looking at governance and the voting on the SORA network. Can you explain how this works, please, William?
Yeah, sure. So, originally, the SORA network was intended to have a parliament that covers many different knowledge forms. It's a little bit complicated to explain it, but at the moment, it is multi-body sortition. So the SORA Parliament wants to govern with isonomia, that everyone who is a citizen has political equality. Isegoria, the right that all citizens can speak and contribute, and through random sortition. So, the citizens are randomly requested to be part of the parliament, so you don't have the risk of oligarchies or people with specific interests in power. It's something that everyone should be able to access, as it is an open and decentralized system. However, at the moment, we are still using the current substrate governance palette. I think we are going to upgrade it to governance version 2. It is in the roadmap, I think, for all projects that are substrate based. But so at the moment there is a SORA council, and then there is a technical committee, and then some of these referendums are also open for the community to vote in. So it's we try to keep the community in the loop of everything, and I think they are pretty much we're pretty much achieving it. There is a bot that relays all of the governance motions that have been done, so people can always see what is being voted on. And at the same time, there is also a channel called SORA Serious, where people can discuss the ongoing topics of the network. So it is very decentralized. It is also very transparent.
Wow, that's an amazing system, totally transparent, with a lot of transparency. And I think that's it's quite amazing. You can explain us about how Substrate works for the people who don't know how Substrate works.
I'm not a developer myself, so a lot of this is also quite above me, but it is a programming language that is based on Rust. Well, it is a blockchain that is based on Rust. I'm sure that all of the developers listening to me now are just cringing, but
don't worry. We are talking not about the coding. We're talking about it is decentralized. It is have a transparency system, things like that.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. It is quite decentralized, and it has a very interesting governance mechanism. I think last week or something like that, the new governance, the upgrade to the governance was released. So we are still looking into what that means for Substrate and for the different networks that are in it. And it seeks to make governance less abstract and more easy for everyone to use. So basically, you go to somewhere like bulk assembly, depending on the parachain, or you would do it straight in a block explorer or in the Polkadot.js apps for you to see what the status of the different proposals were. And hopefully with this, it's going to make it much easier and much more accessible, because indeed, I think this barrier of you needing to have certain technical knowledge for you to be able to access the governance features is a bit, it's a bit limiting, I guess you would say, in the aspects of transparency. There are a lot of interesting projects at the moment that are doing a great job at helping people understand what's going on. I think there is Jay, who has a show, I'm not sure if it's every week, about the current proposals that are open, and he talks about them with a member of the Kusama governance, which I think is a really cool and really great way for newcomers and people who are not technically skilled, as I mentioned earlier, to be up to speed. I think that with something as open and decentralized as a blockchain ecosystem, that everyone being involved in governance is great, because you have a direct sort of influence in what happens. It's not as external as, like, let's say, the politics of the country or of a bloc like the EU or NATO or something like that. So I think if it's something that's closer to home and that you have more influence in and more of a say in, then you should definitely take part in the governance as much as possible.
Wow, that's amazing. I think that it's a great point to achieve the decentralization and be freedom. So yeah, we are back to the SORA network. We are going to talk about the validators nodes, the token val. You can explain how this all works, how you have your own validator node, and how the people are validators.
Yeah, sure. So we have also a tutorial for you to spin up a validator node. It is pretty similar to, I think, different solo chains in the Dotsama ecosystem. But the difference is that when you run a validator node, you get rewarded in val. Val is a deflationary token, so it's burnt with every transaction, and it is only given to validators. So it's, I think, quite interesting in its tokenomics. Every transaction that happens, val is burnt, which reduces the amount of val available. And running nodes, I think you need to, anyone can run a node. Let's have that said. So there are two types of nodes you can run. You can run a validator node, which, as said, does a validation. So you need to lock up an amount of tokens. You can have nominators who provide tokens to you, to your validator node, and then get the rewards. You need to stay up to speed with the version of the validator node that is available, and that happens in the SORA devs chat. The community is really happy to help, and even Makoto-san himself, the founder of Soramitsu, sometimes partakes in helping people who want to run nodes. So it's really, I think, collaborative and very cool system, I would say. I'll share some information with you so that you can also share with your listeners regarding...
for sure. You will have all the links on the description of the video, all links that William shared with us. And now we are talking about XST USD, Sami.
Yes, so we have talked about the validator token. So can you now explain us how does the XST USD works? What function does it have in the SORA network?
Yeah, sure. So the XST USD token is an algorithmic stablecoin. So it is pegged to the value of DAI. And at the moment, it is backed by ZOR, although the tokenomics are being upgraded for it to be backed by the XST token. And so, basically, PolkaSwap, as I mentioned earlier, which is the liquidity hub of the SORA network, has the liquidity source for XST. So if you swap ZOR for XST, then you burn that amount of ZOR and you mint the XST, and vice versa. Although, as I mentioned earlier, it's changing into XST, and there will be a platform for synthetic assets based on XST, which is under development. Again, spoiler, you guys are trying to get me to spoil the work that we're doing or something. But yeah, you will be able to, through governance, create assets that are backed by other assets, and they're algorithmic on the SORA network. So at the moment we have XST USD, as mentioned earlier. You can also, there are also now liquidity pools that are XST USD backed. So, reducing the risk of impermanent loss for the people who are looking for a place to stake. Again, always do your research, not financial advice at all. And yeah, the XST platform is something that is continuously growing and that we are working on very diligently to improve and to make better every day.
So yeah, that's perfect. Thank you, William, for the explanation of the XST USD token. Yeah, so XST is a new token recently released on the SORA network, and I think that it's have a lot of correlation with the XST USD token as being a synthetic token. You can explain how synthetic tokens work,
Yeah, specifically for XST USD, the synthetic part about it is that it is an algorithmically backed stablecoin. So it gets its value from you locking tokens that amount to the value that it is pegged to. So then you could, for example, right now XST USD, which is pegged to the value of DAI. But then, for example, you could make XST Euro, which is backed to the value of the euro, or you could make XST backed to the value of the Canadian dollar, or the Unidad de Fomento, or any currencies that an oracle can constantly get a feed of their value, and that are stable, of course, because the whole you don't want to have a token that fluctuates in price constantly. So this is kind of what the algorithmic aspect or the synthetic aspect tries to do, to give it some stability.
Yeah, so yeah, I think that's the point. Have a synthetic algorithmic currency that solve the typical problem of, for example, Bitcoin and Ethereum. So yeah, now we are talking about we have been talking about the how SORA helps countries and governments. This is really amazing, but this is happening right now with Sri Lanka and SORA. We have been seeing your amazing work with this country, that this is ongoing through a difficult times, unfortunately. Could you talk about this situation on SORA and how SORA can help Sri Lanka?
Yeah, so I mean, not only can it help Sri Lanka, I think it can help many other countries that are facing a similar situation. So if you, for example, take the case of El Salvador and how they are using Bitcoin. I mean, it is very groundbreaking in the sense that a country adopting cryptocurrency as legal tender is something that is unheard of. But Bitcoin, in a way, is it's its own beast. There is no economic policy to Bitcoin. It just exists and it stores value. So what SORA is trying to do, or what SORA is doing, is to take tokens beyond their current use of speculative assets or software depending on who you ask, and actually make it function, like money. So when money is allocated for productive purposes, then this money partakes in a circular economy, and then it generates more value. So if, for example, a Sri Lankan tea farmer wanted to use ZOR to then create tea that people could then buy using ZOR or something along those lines, there's a circular economy, and the money exchanges hands and at the same time increases value. Whereas now you get people that either store their crypto, like keep it in their mattress, or just don't use it, or people that dump the crypto for fiat and then just make a profit out of it. Both those things are very valid activities. However, I think that is not how we'll be able to bring crypto to the mainstream, or that is not the definition of what legal tender should be, right? It's supposed to be a SORA value. It's supposed to be something that people can exchange for goods and services. And if you just keep it there is really no exchange, and it's just a matter of speculating on its value. But with that said, the way that the SORA network helps is that indeed people can bring forward proposals for allocation of funds, and then the entire SORA community, or in a more advanced case, the SORA parliament, would decide on the feasibility of these projects and then allocate the funds. So then people would use these funds for productive purposes and bring more value to them and to the SORA system overall.
Oh, so yeah, we have been talking about just SORA offers an economic structure that could not eliminate the main problems that led countries or states to have systems crisis generated by the inflationary problems, away from the massive debt, and increasing social inequalities, creating crises in the financial systems. So what SORA offers to eliminate these problems?
I think fundamentally it offers a system that is not based on debt. So
I think that is the point.
So for example, when you get a loan from a bank, the bank just writes this money out of thin air, and then it gets its money back when you pay them back, and then it gets a profit in the interests that are charged. Whereas in the SORA network, or with SORA, these funds are allocated for productive purposes, and it's got its value because it comes out of the money that is in liquidity pools. The thing that I also find very interesting about DeFi is that, just like in a Forex bureau or something like that, people have the power to define the value of something in their hands by providing liquidity to it, or by, for example, doing the XST farming. The more liquidity that's in there, then the higher the value of the token becomes. And then you need to also then turn around and reduce the amount of tokens in circulation, so that the whole supply and demand situation. But this is something that is done. You have the power to define this. You can adjust the value, just like the same way a token would crash when people dump it. A token also pumps when people back it, right?
Yeah, I think that's the goal. The thing that it's it's quite amazing your system, and how help this to as a city like a city or a country like Sri Lanka. And now we are talking about is I'm a business, like for example, let's take an auto, and I want to get paid with SORA or use the SORA system. How can I integrate this to the real economy right now?
Yeah, I think the easiest way to integrate this into the real economy would be to accept SORA as a means of payment. And then in that way, SOR can change hands and increase in its value, and also at the same time, a certain amount of ZOR can be burnt with the transactions, which will then reduce the circulation. You can also indeed run a node with the instructions that I have yet to provide. But yeah, it is pretty. There are a lot of ways for you to get involved, I think. You can start either by providing liquidity, or if you want to go and now make it a real world use case, accept payments in SOR in exchange for goods and services.
Yeah, that's amazing. It's an amazing system. Now we are changing to a feature that we consider amazing right now, are the NFTs. A project that in the .sum ecosystem is highly demand right now, with Gromlins, Pirate Bay, amazing projects. And how we can create NFT on Polkaswap, as you say early, and if you have think about create an NFT marketplace, and what characteristic of SORA gives to the NFTs,
Yeah, so you can create a token in the SORA in Polkaswap, actually, by going to account, and then on the top right corner, there is a button that says create. You can create a token or an NFT, and then you provide liquidity for this fungible or non-fungible asset. So that is one way. At the moment, it is limited for use within the SORA network. But we are, as the integrated plan shows, NFT marketplace, and also a more robust implementation of the different standards that are available currently in substrate networks are being worked on. It is part of the secrets, but it is considered within the roadmap. Yeah, definitely NFTs with a good function hold a very interesting value and purpose in the current use of blockchains.
Yeah, we have a lot of friends here listening, and projects in the Wikiband that are NFTs. Yeah, it's an amazing market right now. So yeah, now we are talking a little bit about the Polkaswap interface is quite amazing. How can you explain for a current user how he can be involved in these DEX?
Yeah, sure. I mean, as I mentioned earlier, there are a lot of ways for you to get involved with Polkaswap and with SORA, depending on if you want to get new functions for it. You can you can create a token all of your own and provide liquidity for it and trade it. You can also stake and pool your liquidity in there with very interesting rewards. And you can also bridge your assets into the SORA network. So then, you get your assets from different chains integrated into SORA, and you can contribute to the network as well through then converting them to SORA network tokens. And vice versa, you can take your liquidity or your tokens from the SORA network and then bridge them into Ethereum at the moment, but more interesting and more networks coming soon.
Wow, that's amazing. Yeah, I think that Polkaswap has a friendly user face, and it's quite amazing. So we have been seeing a lot of amazing projects built on SORA, like Ceres, Noah, Geometry Farming. Can you explain these projects, in general ways?
Yeah. So where do we start? Ceres
Yeah,
is exactly, where do you start? Ceres and Demeter. Well, Ceres is the company or the project that makes Demeter. So then they, it's one of their dApps which is released. There are going to be more dApps available from Ceres coming soon. I think, yeah, you should check them out all in itself. If you get a chance to speak with someone from Ceres, the team is also really talented and they're really cool.
Yeah, we have an interview with Sarah's team that will be available for sure on the wiki.
Really cool builders as well. They make a lot of very interesting stuff. And at the same time, yeah, the Demeter platform is a liquidity provision platform. So it's a nicer look. It's a nicer version, a better version, easier to use version of something like Balancer, I think. And it also is integrated within PokerSwap. So then if you add liquidity to a pool in PokerSwap, then if the pool already exists in the Demeter platform, then you can also add liquidity to that pool. So not only will you be getting the rewards from liquidity provision in PokerSwap, but you'll also be getting the rewards that are available in Demeter. So you remember that you mentioned earlier that only 1,337 XST tokens were initially minted, but every governance proposal that is passed by the SORA governance at the moment has a percentage of it allocated to Demeter. So then if you provide liquidity to the Demeter platform, you are basically like the Lord Rothschild of these tokens.
Oh, that's amazing. Thank you for your introduction of the projects. We will see it in detail on the next interview with Ceres. But yeah, we are going to. We have been using some words like self-custody, the freedom, and we know about the sex problems. Why it's important that you have the keys to your wallet and where you have your assets. You can explain what self-custody really means?
Yeah, so I think the easiest way to mention it is that self-custody is the relationship between you and the blockchain. So there is no third party in between. So basically, if whatever it is whatever asset that you own can only be accessed to it through your account because you have the keys to the account. I think in a literal and metaphorical way. To our readers to our listeners who are not very versed in blockchain, you need a key to sign for a transaction for you to be able to make any movements on the blockchain. And the same goes for owning the tokens or for making movements with them. Anyone can see what any address owns on a block explorer, but only you can move these assets around with the key that you have, which is why whenever, you want to buy an NFT, you need to sign it on your MetaMask, or if you want to make a swap, you need to sign it on your Polkadot.js or any other wallet that you're using. So this is pretty much in a big picture kind of way how self-custody is applied. But then when you take it to the example of using a centralized exchange or a decentralized exchange, the centralized exchange is the one that has the custody of your assets. So you, with a credit card or with a bank transfer or any other payment method, buy your tokens on their platform, but then these tokens are not yours until you withdraw the tokens into your own personal wallet. So at any time, they could either block withdrawals, or they could refuse certain tokens from trading, or stuff like this. There's definitely been a demand for centralized exchange and non-custodial platforms, because I think it makes it easier for certain people who are not very experienced, or who simply cannot remember their seed phrase, or if they find this whole process too complicated, then they just want very simple and easy intermediate to do it. That is very understandable, for sure. I mean, my mom would have started using centralized exchange, or your uncle who considers himself a day trader on Sunday afternoons as well would be using a centralized exchange. But then, for you to go that step further in the ownership of your assets, I think it's good to have a DEX. With that said, there are still some people that would, for example, use centralized exchanges as an on or off ramp. So if you don't have any crypto, you buy it on a CEX and then you transfer it to a self-custodial wallet, or if you have funds in a self-custodial wallet, you transfer it to your CEX and then cash out. So there's definitely a balance there, and I think I have over answered the question. Sorry.
No, it's quite an amazing explanation. I think that you have your wallet, you have your identity, you have your assets under your control, for sure, and with no races, no, only you and your wallet. I think that my friend Sammy have some question for you, William. Sammy?
Yes, so talking about these amazing projects in SORA, we have seen that there is a wonderful game running through the network of SORA. Can you explain us what is the arena and how does it work?
Yes. So the arena is a brawl game. So you can participate in there, defeat opponents in the arena, and then get some amazing prizes in the form of tokens. It is indeed a pay-to-play, so you would have to put some money in the pot for you to participate in the arena. But it's actually quite entertaining and quite fun. And the arena is not only on the SORA network, but it's also expanded to Astar. So you can, I think from the latest season that started, you can also experience crossplay with other people from other networks. And if you're into brawl games, you should definitely try it out on thearena.io.
Yeah, for sure. All the gamers that are listening, please go to the arena and play it. It's a wonderful game. We have some videos on the CoinReference channel. You can jump in. So talking about the arena, about this wonderful game, I think that is the first game built on Dotsama. Is right?
As far as I'm aware, it is, yes, and it's also one of the more fun ones.
Yeah, it's quite amazing. So the implementation to Astar Network is quite amazing. But about the arena, we will be talking with SORA's team more in detail. So you have the interview with the SORA's team. Let's return to the SORA network. Let's talk about the SORA Parliament and the SORA governments more in detail. We have been talking about this, in a few minutes before, but you can explain more in detail how this parliament helps to the people.
Yeah, definitely. As I mentioned earlier, the three concepts, or the three fundamentals of the SORA Parliament, isonomia, isegoria, and sortition, really help so that everyone has a chance to participate, and so that the different The different topics that are brought through to governance are dealt with in a way that is both decentralized and impartial. So there is no sort of like play of influences or very opinionated people with interests trying to get those ahead. There are a lot of bodies within the SORA Parliament. So then a citizen would be able to become part of the Rules Committee, which, for example, would set the rules on what proposals can be set forward, or the Agenda Council, which then decides if the proposal should go forward or not. There's interest panels that study the proposals to make sure that it does indeed have value. And additionally, these panels would have experts that are, very knowledgeable in their fields, so that there is a valuable insight in a practical term of the proposal that is set forward. And from there are review panels that then take the information that the interest panel has provided and make it a proposal that the policy juries can then look into. And then, moving down the pipeline, the policy jury decides or ratifies or assigns punishments, even if it's necessary. And then from there's also monetary policy committee or the financial market authority that governs or would govern PokerSwap. And over all of this, there's an oversight council that makes sure that no rules are violated and that everything is fair and decentralized. So it's a very, you could say that it's governance for anons by anons. And I think it's not being implemented at the moment. However, it's definitely in the works for the SORA Parliament to have a very important part in the SORA network governance.
William, the Parliament is quite amazing. I think that, I have no words about the Parliament. Is amazing. And we're going to jump into the Fearless wallet and the SORA chain integration into this wallet. We have seen that PokerSwap soon will be available. Can you give us some spoiler, William? I don't know if you can.
I can't. I'm not really liberty to say much about this topic, but what I can say is that with the Substrate 4 upgrade that happened recently, people will now also be able to find the SORA network tokens within Fearless Wallet very soon. So that's definitely something to look forward to.
For sure. You follow the last update on the Twitter of Fearless Wallet and PokerSwap to see this amazing implementation. So we are arriving to the final of this interview, William. That was amazing. We think that SORA, we are excited. We are very excited about the projects and SORA, about the SORA project, since we can see that all economic actions have their place and that they can really have a really benefit from the economic system that William have shown us. William, it's your time to say whatever you want to conclude this amazing interview.
Well, first of all, I'll start by saying thank you guys for being such great hosts. It was really nice talking to you. I hope your listeners do not get too bored or too confused listening to me explaining all of these different topics that we have been presenting. Also, if you guys are interested in participating in SORA in any way, I have given Adrian a lot of articles that he's going to share, hopefully in the description of this video, so that you can get aware, get involved. If you would like to be an ambassador for SORA, you can also get in touch with an admin within one of the chats. And I think if anything, I guess we can close by saying, if it's not your keys, it's not your coins. Always do your research and stay fearless.
Yeah, for sure, William. It was quite an honor. For sure, all the listeners will have all the links of SORA in the description. Browse the links, search information about SORA. It's an amazing project. And William, thank you for being with us. And for our listeners, see you in the next The Week Event interview. Thank you a lot.
Thank you. Cheers.